Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and another action movie night. Tonight, I'll be reviewing Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, the extended cut, released in 2016. Directed by Zack Snyder, from a script by Chris Terrio and David S. Goyer. Starring Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Jesse Eisenberg, Diane Lane, Laurence Fishburne, Jeremy Irons, Holly Hunter, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, Jason Momoa, and Joe Morton. Now, I think DC had a perfect starting point for what could have been a great cinematic universe to rival Marvel's with Man of Steel. All they had to do was follow the same template that Marvel did, and the success would have came. Instead, they pushed this film out, introducing multiple characters in one film, which hurt the film. You didn't see Marvel do that. Marvel didn't make one film about one character, and then their next film, they introduced like 5 or 6 new characters to set up a third film where it would be a big team-up. They didn't do that. Marvel had Iron Man. Then they did The Incredible Hulk. Then they did Iron Man 2. Then they did Thor. And then they did Captain America, the First Avenger. And then they followed that with their team-up. The 6th film in that series was The Avengers. And it worked. It worked perfectly for Marvel because of how well executed that plan was of introducing characters in succession, not all in one film, like this film tries to do. And it's a shame. You have Ben Affleck, who is a huge fan of Batman and really wanted to bring to life a perfect representation of Bruce Wayne / Batman. And he's perfect for it. I mean, look at the guy. He's got that chiseled jawline that when you put the bat suit on him, he looks like Batman. He looks like the comic book brought to life. And he had a love for it. So you knew he would have done the movies. He would have done any TV work that you would have needed him to do as the character. He was all in. And then, of course, I've already mentioned this in the Man of Steel. Henry Cavill was a really good Clark Kent / Superman. Now, he's not my Clark Kent / Superman because my Superman is always going to be Christopher Reeve. But he was good for this version of this universe. And he was great in Man of Steel. And Amy Adams was great in Man of Steel as Lois Lane. In this film, they get such limited screen time together, especially in the theatrical cut. That's why I'm focusing on the extended cut in this one. Now, in the extended cut, you do get that great sequence in the bathroom with Henry Cavill and Amy Adams. And that's the only moment that they really have where they show that chemistry that they had in Man of Steel, unfortunately. Jesse Eisenberg is a freaking joke playing Lex Luthor. This is just... Who thought this was a good idea to cast this guy? I mean, I have nothing against Jesse Eisenberg, but that was bad casting. You do not cast this, young kid that's good at playing these little punk characters or, smart genius characters. Whatever. He's played multiple versions of that kind of thing. And then have him come in and play Lex Luthor. One of the most iconic villains in DC history. And yet you are going to make him this variation of the character, which is far, far removed from Gene Hackman's portrayal, which was different from the comics, yes. But do they do anything close to the comics with Jesse Eisenberg? No, they do not. They go in a completely different route that was probably in line with what they did with the Joker with future films, which I will eventually get to that probably in one of my reviews. Diane Lane returns as Martha Kent, and she's good in this. It's unfortunate that there's moments in this film that are really good, but the thing is rushed and different elements are thrown into this to put all this stuff together so that they can build toward Justice League. And it shouldn't be that. This should have been a continuation of Man of Steel with a sequel to that, or it should have been a solo film about Ben Affleck's Batman. That's how you do it. You introduce the Man of Steel, you introduce your new Superman, you introduce your new Batman in his own film, and then you do another film. You don't put Wonder Woman in this film. You don't put Aquaman in this film. You don't put the Flash in this film. And number one, they already had a Flash with the CW series, and I know some people wouldn't want Grant Gustin to appear in these movies, but he was one of the best parts of the CW shows. I could see not putting in the Green Arrow because that was a really stupid variation of the character that was just a ripoff of Batman. But Grant Gustin's Barry Allen is far, far superior to this travesty of a performance that Ezra Miller does in this film and any future films that they put that degenerate in. And then you get Ray Fisher as Cyborg as well. So, I mean, you didn't need all these characters in this film. This film should have been, like I said, should have been a Batman film, or it should have been a sequel to Man of Steel. Don't try to merge all these things together to try to quickly get into Justice League. This was just badly thought out and badly put together from start to finish. And it's a shame because, like I said, you have Ben Affleck, who really wanted to do the best Batman ever. And he had a fairly decent Alfred in this with Jeremy Irons. And that was unusual to get to see him play that character. But he's not being able to get to play the character in a film that properly uses his talents. Like I said, this should have been either a Batman film or a Man of Steel film. And then, after that, if it was a continuation of Man of Steel, okay. Then you could have done a solo film with Batman, with Ben Affleck. Then you could have done your solo film with Wonder Woman to introduce her. You could have done your solo film with Aquaman to introduce him. You didn't have to do no film with the Flash, because the Flash, like I said, they could have put the Flash from the TV series in this and connected them. But they didn't want to do that. And the overall film suffers for it. There's not much more I can say about this film. It is just one of the greatest disappointments for any kind of superhero fan going into a film like this. With the amount of talent that they had attached to this thing, it should have been great. But and the travesty of what they did with the Doomsday character, introducing that character by the end of this just to kill the character off. It was like, don't do that. The Doomsday character could have been a character similar to Thanos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where you could have had him established in one film and then grow through multiple films. But like I said, they rushed this thing forward just to try to get that next film out for the Justice League. And it was a huge mistake. So, my final review of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, the extended cut from 2016. I am going to give this film a 5.2 out of 10. What it does good is negated by all of that it does bad. So, yeah. This is a shame. But what do you guys think of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice? Do you agree with my review? Do you disagree? Let me know in those comments down below. And if you enjoyed this review, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell icon so you can be notified about future videos just like this one. And while you're by the subscribe button, click that join button and become a Dark Knight fan. As a Dark Knight Fan Plus member, you can go into the channel right now and go to a post that I have where you can submit either a movie, TV show, or ranking video that you want me to do on the channel. And when I do it, it will go up right there on the Plus area for all Plus members to be able to watch the review before it goes live on the channel. So if you want to get interactive, now is your chance.
Well, that's it for another action movie night. If you missed last week's action movie night, check out the link above to get caught up on that one. And if you've missed any other videos, check out this down here where you can watch a playlist of any of our action movie nights that you have missed.